feast your eyes on the proud dragon warrior that is Kommo-o. Kommo-o here is not your mere measly dragon. Kommo-o has ascended to new heights. You might even say it obtained the legend. Kommo-o here is a dragon fighting type, which means it resists bug, grass, fire, water, electric, dark, and rock, while being weak to ice, flying, psychic, and dragon, and 4 times weakness to fairy. And you know what I had to say to that 4 times fairy weakness? We got Tera now. Haters gonna hate. Kommo-o here has had plenty of amazing tools in its belt prior to Generation 9, and thanks to Generation 9 bringing out terrestrialization, Kommo-o has the potential to wreck things. And on top of that, we have the stats to back it up. If we wanted to, we could go Tera Steel, we could go Tera Fire, Tera Poison, or even Tera Fighting if we wanted to give our fighting type stab the adaptability level boosts of power. As far as our stats go, we have 75 HP, 110 attack, 125 defense, 100 special attack, 105 special defense, and 85 speed. Kommo-o has the ability, if it wants to go Tera Steel, to become an absolute tank with that 125 defense and 105 special defense. But there's a few other things in Kommo-o's arsenal that makes it even scarier, and that's its abilities. We have Soundproof and Bulletproof as our 2 standard abilities, and then we have Overcoat as our hidden ability. Overcoat here, we're going to touch on first as our hidden ability. Protects us from Spore, which means Kommo-o isn't getting a case of the Sleepies anytime soon. It also protects us from Sandstorm chip damage. So if we wanted to build a Sand team, we could throw an Overcoat Kommo-o on there, free up an item slot for another teammate with safety goggles if we so wanted to. Fighting type coverage on Sand teams is really nice, and we can definitely do that if we wanted to. But I really like the idea of both Bulletproof and Soundproof because both of these abilities protect us from a rather extensive list of moves. So let's go into Soundproof first on the bottom left-hand screen. Now, here's some really nice highlights from that list. We are immune to Roar, which means we cannot be phased out. Kommo-o has Clangorous Soul as a signature move, which gives us an omni-boost. Roar could otherwise ruin that, but we don't have to worry about that. We also don't have to worry about Perish Song, because Perish Song puts us on a 3-turn timer the minute anything hears it. Soundproof protects us from that. Screech and Metal Sound are both on this list as well, both of which can lower our defense or special defense by 2 stages, which could make Kommo-o a lot softer to hit depending on which one of those 2 moves hits us. On top of that, Parting Shot. This is a really good move to be immune to because Parting Shot lowers the target's attack and special attack each 1 stage and switches the user of that move out. So being immune to that is relatively handy. Soundproof has a list of strong moves to be immune to right then and there, on top of some lesser moves like, Confide. Anyways, let's jump into the Bulletproof list. Now, not quite as extensive of a list of great moves to be immune to, but it does protect us from Acid Spray, which can cut our special defense in half with 1 use by lowering it 2 stages. Weather Ball can get stupidly overpowered relatively quick, so that is another awesome move to be immune to. If we want to go Tera Steel, well, we don't have to worry about Cinderace's Pyro Ball right there. If we want to go Tera Fire, we don't have to worry about Rock Blast or Rock Wrecker. Rock Wrecker we probably won't be able to see because I'm pretty sure that's a signature move to Rhyperior, but Rock Blast is a move that is boosted by the loaded dice, so you might see an upsurge in usage of that too. That's also a handy thing to be immune to if we go Tera Fire because, we would gain a rock weakness by switching away from the fighting type to the fire type for that. So keep that in mind. Both of these abilities are really solid, but I do have to give it to Soundproof just a little bit more. And the other thing about Soundproof is it does protect Kommo-o from clanging scales, which is really handy for dealing with any mirror matchups against Kommo-o because Kommo-o's clanging scales is a sound boof that is also a base 110 dragon type move that is also able to benefit it by giving it a +1 if it's holding the throat spray item. So just keep that all in mind. And the other thing too about soundproof, because I put an asterisk next to Clangorous Soul, we don't have to worry about soundproof ruining that for us because Kommo-o is using it to boost its stats. It's not a debuff or anything like that. So Clangorous Soul is only there because it's a sound move. And I'm pretty sure Howl also still works if your partner uses it. So Kommo-o can get an attack boost that way as well. So let's jump into some moveset ideas. Our first moveset here is going to take advantage of the fact that Clangorous Soul gives us an omni-boost to every single one of our stats. And on top of that, we have Drain Punch to recover the HP that we're going to sacrifice to take advantage of Clangorous Soul, because it is a 33% drop rate there. Getting a +1 into our attack is going to be relatively nice, especially since Drain Punch will recover us back more HP. We have Scale Shot here to increase our speed an extra stage at the cost of the newly acquired defense boost. But that's all right, because basically here, with the loaded dice as our item, we're essentially turning Scale Shot into a dragon type close combat. It's a much better move for Kommo-o on the physical side as opposed to Dragon Claw, which is a base 80. With the loaded dice item here, we're going to be hitting a minimum of 4 times, which puts us up to base 100 power before stab. And if we hit the 5th time, we hit 125 base power before stab is applied. It's a little bit of a waste of an item slot, but I think it's worth it for that explosive power and the ability to increase our speed another stage. And thanks to Drain Punch being able to recover our HP, if we go for another Clangorous Soul, we can get our defense boost back. So that's a thing. And then depending on what we want to do Tera-wise as far as our typing, we can determine what we want for our 4th move. Right now, I have Poison Jab here because what I was thinking is Tera Poison can be relatively handy. If we're going to be increasing our defenses, or in the bare minimum, our special defense, we don't want to get poisoned and whittled down. Going Tera Poison would give us an immunity to poison as well as toxic. The Loyal 3 legendary Pokemon that just came out with the Teal Mask have a signature ability called Toxic Chain, which has the ability to toxic poison you when they hit you with any move, which could be really bad. I got a feeling we're going to see Monkey Dory a lot. I don't know quite for sure yet about Fezandipity and Okidogi, but Monkey Dory we're probably going to see a lot of because it does have a relatively high speed stat and access to Fake Out, so it'll probably be one of the fastest Fake Outs in the game. So we might see that, and being able to go Tera Poison will help Kommo-o get around the potential toxic poisoning off of a Fake Out, which could be really bad. Now, keep in mind, Monkey Dory is also part Psychic, so that's another problem for Kommo-o, but you could go Tera Steel to get around that if you are worried about Monkey Dory. What I was thinking was we could go Tera Poison and Poison Jab so that we gain access to Stab. If we wanted to go Tera Fire, we could run Fire Punch instead. Fire Punch is a little bit weaker, but it's a base 75 move. It would gain Stab off of Tera Fire. We'll just change this from Tera Poison to Tera Fire right quick. Nope, that's Tera Fairy. We want Tera Fire. So anyways, we would gain Stab that way. And the big advantage to Tera Fire is while Fire does have a fair amount of resistances that it gives us, on top of that, we also don't have to worry about getting burned. Now, we do have to worry about Urshifu Rapid Strike, unfortunately, but there's always going to be risk to whatever you go with, unfortunately. So that is something you do just have to live with. But we become immune to being burned, which means we don't have to worry about our physical attack output being lowered. We also could use Fire Punch, or even if we just want that Tera Fire, we could go Protect, and then that way we have that. The only drawback to going with just Scale Shot and Drain Punch, though, is Dragon and Fighting do get resisted by a fair amount of things, so you do have to watch that. So I would almost make the argument that even in double battles, it might be better to just rely on Wide Guard support or Redirection support so that Kommo-o can get that Clangorous Soul and then have 3 different attacking moves to inflict damage with. I would make that argument. Now, I'm pretty sure, too, we get access to Iron Head, which would give us Steel-type Stab if we want Tera Steel as well. So we'll just double-check that right quick. And yes, we do get access to Iron Head. So Iron Head could be a relatively good alternative if we want to go Tera Steel, and then we don't have to worry necessarily about the loyal 3 being able to toxic poison us with any moves they hit us with. And on top of that, steel is a great defensive typing to switch into, and it also resists both ice and fairy. Iron Bundle and Fluttermane are still around. Be weary of that. Now, as far as our stat breakdown goes, what I was thinking is we're going to go 196 EVs into our speed with a Jolly Nature to hit 143. At +1, we can outspeed Dragapult and slower so long as they aren't Choice Scarfed, which is going to be really nice. That means we're not going to be outsped by many things, and we're getting a +1 into our attack stat. We have 236 EVs into a neutral nature attack stat to hit 160. At +1, we're getting an extra 80 points. So we're hitting 240 right there. That's huge right there for a Drain Punch. And Scale Shot is also getting incredibly harder hitting with each hit too. So we have that, and then the rest of the EVs are dedicated to bulk. We're going to go up to 159 HP points with 68 EVs, and we're just going to go 4 into each of our defenses to round it up to an even number to get an extra point from that +1. That's the main thing that I was thinking of with this physical attacking Kommo-o. Now let's take a look at the second set. And there's more than one way to achieve the legend, because we're still using Clangorous Soul, but this time on a special attacking set. And similarly enough to what we had for the physical sets EVs, we have the 68 into our HP, 1 extra point into our defense and special defense, 196 into our speed, and 236 into our special attack. Now, our special attack is a little bit lower than our physical attack by 10 points, so we're only hitting 150. We are going to gain an extra 75 points from the Clangorous Soul into our special attack. That puts us at 220. And what we can do here is we can use the Throat Spray item. And what Throat Spray does is when you use a sound move, you get a +1 to your special attack. If you're too worried about Clangorous Soul and you just want to go for raw damage, we have Clanging Scales. Clanging Scales is one of our signature moves. It's a spread dragon type attack that is base 100 power, or 110 power right there. And I did mention this before, so this is a scary thing for the mirror matchup, so hence why you probably don't want to go Tera Dragon. Ironically enough, Tera Steel would cover this, but you could also go Tera Fairy and become completely immune to it if you wanted to. So we have the Clanging Scales to do damage. It does lower our defense 1 stage each time we use it. This set doesn't have access to Drain Punch, so you do have to be a little bit more conservative with your Clangorous Soul, and you are going to be losing 1/3 of your HP. So maybe having a Life Dew Pokemon next to Kommo-o could be handy in this. Clefairy is back. Clefairy gets access to both Life Dew and Follow Me, so you could do that. You could use Indeedee, because I'm pretty sure female Indeedee also gets access to Heal Pulse, which is a 50% of your HP recovered when you hit your partner with it. Pollen Puff Pokemon like Amoonguss could be really nice. Ribombee is back as well. Ribombee, Quiver Pollen Puff could be a solution as well to give Kommo-o some HP. And going back to Clefairy too, you could use the Heal Pulse instead of Life Dew. So there's definitely the options right there, and I don't remember if Clanging Scales only hits both of your opponents. It might hit your partner too. So having Clefairy next to Kommo-o might not be a terrible thing either. I have to look it up to see if it's a whole like sweeping move for the entire field, or if it's just a spread move in the sense of hitting both your targets. But anyways, that's something to keep in mind. You could go Flash Cannon as well if you want to go Tera Steel, and then that way too you do have Steel type stab if you go with that. And Vacuum Wave here is a spicy pick too. On this set here, you could go Protect, but Vacuum Wave is a little bit of a nice tech as well, because Vacuum Wave, like I mentioned in the Pokemon returning video for the Teal Mask, Vacuum Wave is one of the few special attacking priority moves. So it's also a fighting type move, which can get around some things that are more on the physically defensive side as opposed to the special defense. And it might let Kommo-o just flip a situation that could be really bad. Here's a crazy thought though too. Chien Pao is 4 times weak to fighting. There you go. If Qin Pao doesn't go Tera Ghost, well, you can just get rid of that, which is significantly faster than Kommo-o with a Vacuum Wave, or in the bare minimum, bring it down to a Focus Sash and let Kommo-o's partner finish it too. That could be something that might be worth looking into. So, anyways, guys, I hope you really were sold on Kommo-o and how strong it is going to be in Regulation E. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this proud Dragon Warrior. Let's see if you agree with me that it achieved the legend.